Deadwing. That's something we see more often.
Oh, that's a good point. Introducing our players over here in the bottom right, we have our Zerg.
SK Telecom T1 Su.
3 consecutive GSL finals in a row, getting second place every time. You really never see anything consistent like this in StarCraft II anywhere else. In the bottom left, we have our Protoss player, the rookie of the group.
CJN2's Trust.
All right, well, we'll see if Trust can maybe fix some of his flaws, because he's attacking and overcommitting at the wrong times, but he's like, his strats are good, his build orders are actually quite sharp. His macro seems to be pretty on key, aside from maybe a one big pylon miss when the Phoenix has started. You know, I do like a lot of things about his play, so I mean, this kid.
Yeah, if he could just pull it together, I think can calm down a little bit. A lot of with the new players that we get in Code S, we see a lot of nerve issues.
Yeah, of course.
This is a long, grueling tournament where you have a lot of time to prepare for each group, and that can be really tough. I mean, it's a different beast from laddering or even going to a competition where you have 3 days of games all day. This is, I mean, you have so much time to prepare. A lot of these players just freak out when they're finally here and they're being filmed and things are starting to not go well.
Well, you know, it makes sense. This is, if you want to be a StarCraft pro gamer, this is it right here. You're in the Code S, okay? This is like the end-all for your career. This is where you make your big, huge name, and you become an epic legend.
Only if you can perform.
Yeah.
We have the 3 hatches being made, no spawning pool yet.
It's super greedy build here from Su. Can't really blame him for it. It's a huge 4-player map. Going to take his opponent a long time to find him. Trust actually scouting the wrong direction. So he won't know right till as late as possible just how greedy Su has been here. He probably suspects pretty much that anyways, though.
The 2 gases are finishing up. Meanwhile, the spawning pool is still far away from finishing. But I think this is going to work out fine here for Trust. For Su, excuse me. I'm wondering what exactly Trust is going to tech to. I'm guessing a Stargate opener? Maybe
probably,
not, though.
Like, I would say in these spots, Stargate opener is so nice. You can get over.
Well, what's going on up here?
This has to be like a DT rush. A Stargate over there, if your opponent's bottom right, it's like, what? It's like way
I want to
further
make it
than
as
your
far
main
away as humanly possible from my opponent.
Yeah. Well, we will see. He should be throwing up the pylon in just a second here. I think it has to be DT or Blink.
Well,
just like imagine him putting. Okay, first off, can we just rule out Robo? Can we shake hands and say this is not going to be a Robo?
He'll never expect my Immortals to come from this angle.
No, he certainly won't. But he'll definitely have Hive Tech and be max on Broodlords before the first one even walks across this map. All right, let's see what he's going to do, Tasteless. He actually waited to make the pylon until like the Cybernex core was done. It can't be a Stargate, right? If he makes a Stargate
no. I mean,
there,
if he makes it, no, I hope not.
That's like such a weird gamble.
This is where we make a Mr. Rogers-like show of just, you know, there's a part where Mr. Rogers steps in and says, "You weren't the pro gamer I thought you could have been."
That's funny.
No, that's just like not a thing. Okay, so what, he's getting the Twilight Council up there?
Yep.
And now the link does come in here, but you'll have to keep in mind, even though the Zerg can't see the tech, the Zerg is also probably wondering where is anything the Protoss is doing.
Yeah.
Sometimes getting in here and being able to run through the base and check everywhere, even if you don't see the tech, you have to say, okay, well, he should have something, right?
Yeah, right here I'd be thinking,
Dark Shrine.
Maybe I missed the Forge that's upgrading or something like that, but I guess we'll see how this works out for him. Speed is going to finish up. 3 Spores already on the way, so Su is not playing around here. He realizes something's off.
Well, the problem with going for DT openers like this is if you don't do any damage at all, you are so behind.
Yeah.
The Dark Shrine takes forever to make.
It does.
God, I think that... I mean, this could be really bad.
And the thing about opening Dark Shrine, what makes it double risky, is if they can't figure out what your tech is, a lot of times they just make Spores because Stargate tech is so strong, and it counters that pretty well also. You know, it's a form of detection. And the thing is, even if they have Spores against flying units, you're like, oh, that's fine. You still do things with them. The DT does very little.
Well,
Dark Templar tech in general does very little.
The only thing you can really do with DT tech, besides nabbing drones, when they're leaving to make another hatch somewhere, and that's not going to be for a little bit in this case, is if the Zerg army leaves his base, you can try to send them into the main. But even then, that's not
that's like
usually enough to catch up. I mean, you really have to be hoping
stuff, and
you have to be hoping that your opponent's going to make a mistake, not that you're going to necessarily make a great play. So here are the 3 DTs.
All right,
and he's
let's see what he can
going right
do.
towards the main here.
Well, there's a spore in there. The thing is, he might be able to just get in and snipe it. That is a possibility here. Well, he's going to be able to at least kill some drones here with just kind of attack moving in.
Nice time warp there.
Wow.
Oh, wow. He's going to get that support. This is really great play.
Yeah, this is...
Sue, I don't think was anticipating that time warp coming in there.
Well, you know what? He wasn't anticipating DTs in general, and he actually just warped in 3 more, which is pretty crazy.
This layer is getting very low on HP, and more DTs are coming over here and hitting all these drones.
Oh, my God.
Okay, he's going to get up here and take out those DTs. Meanwhile, more drones are being killed off over there at the 3rd base.
You know, if he had let those target anything rather than a layer, like 3 DTs kill a hatchery before Overlords or Overseers morph in, but like he attacked a bunch of stuff and then started the layer, which has even more hit points. So I feel like that was actually a pretty bad mistake there. But the second DT harassment did pretty reasonable, I guess. Did some damage down there.
All right, Sue's wiping out the remaining DT forces over here. I gotta say, I think you need to hide him a little bit better than that, especially if we're gonna put 2 somewhere. Usually when the DT harass ends, you want to send each DT to a different little location.
Yeah.
Because
you've got to spread them out.
If they all get spotted at once, they're not going to get away, especially with Speedlings out and the Overseer moving around.
That's right. If you lose them all at once, it's like such a big investment. You lost 6 DTs this game.
Yeah.
Obviously, he did do a lot of damage there as well, but it could have been more also. It's, you know, this is the thing about Trust. He's doing some really cool stuff. It's just he's not doing it perfectly, you know.
Yeah. It's a lot about the execution. A lot of the ideas behind what he's doing, I like.
In fact, perfectly is like too harsh. Like we shouldn't expect anyone to do anything really perfectly that often. But like he's not even doing it very well.
I expect perfect cast from you every day, Artosis.
Well, that's all I do is perfect cast. So I mean, that's basically it. Even if I do poorly, that's the new perfect. A nice scout going down.
Protoss is now ahead in supply here, really highlighting how much damage that rush did. This is a nice warp in over here too.
Yeah, I mean, even when there's a spore there, and if there's only 1 queen to defend, you can just target down drones, no problem. One-shot those drones.
Okay, the spore is now destroyed, and this is going to keep Sue very busy back at home.
Well, that's he gets out of there. Very nicely done. Starting to move across the map now. Oh, and it's actually Swarm Host we're going to see popping out momentarily here.
Well, let's see how Sue does in the next minute or 2 here, because it seems like an attack from Truss is imminent. He's got a lot of sentries. He's got a lot of stalkers. He's even bringing some DTs with this. The +2 attack is about to complete here.
This is actually a really strong army that we're looking at the moment. That is so many force fields. And he does actually have detection here as well, so these Swarm Hosts are not even going to be that good. He might just straight up kill him here, Tasis.
Yeah, I think Sue's actually in a lot of trouble here. The force fields are fantastic. Well, and I think he's shading
just
off
has too much.
Yeah, that's going to be it for Sue.
Kind of a little bit of a surprising game, I feel like. But well, you know what? The DTs, they worked wonders. Even though he had spores up, he just didn't have any units there to back the spores up.
Usually when we see 3 DTs made, they send 1 to each expansion, or 1 each mining location. And in this case, he sent them all into the main. Not common. He used that time warp there on the drones that were by the spore. Took out the spore eventually. Now, he didn't kill that the layer, but he did do a lot of damage. And then another 3 DTs came in and started hitting that expansion.
Yeah.
And I think Sue was not used to a strategy being used in combination with the style in which he was attacking.
Yeah.
Usually you just see the 3 DTs go out there, they each target down drones. If the Zerg's prepared, everything dies for us. And you just go on to the next game.
It was pretty well calculated, that part, for sure. Maybe not attacking the layer, but every other piece of that was pretty good. So,
yeah,
good on Trust. There's actually, like, I see a future in this kid for sure.
Now, one thing to keep in mind is we don't normally have Protoss try that strategy twice in a best of 3.
No, that would be wild.
Let's see what he does here for the final match to see who goes on to the winners round and who goes on to the losers. The map is going to be merry-go-round. That was picked by Sue.
Yeah, it's a good map overall. Hard for Protoss to take at third base. But Trust doesn't really look nervous. He doesn't look anxious or overexcited or anything. I feel like he's keeping his nerves pretty well, and he's playing good games overall. So Sue's going to have to really buckle down here, because if he loses here, he has to play against either DRG or Stork in an elimination match. And Sue can't be feeling super confident against either of those.
Here's Sue's mindset right now is this is probably for him going into this the easy match, right?
Yeah.
He was probably more than confident against Trust, but now Trust